we get to the end, and there's a security guard there. It's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? What are you guys doing here? And the guy's like, oh yeah, Shaq. This is the band. Shaq knows them, and we're looking at each other like, no, he doesn't.
What is up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. This is another episode of the Scoped Exposure podcast. I love a lot of Australian hardcore, and I've been fortunate enough to have multiple members of this the gang called Speed on the podcast here. And sometimes when you see a tweet go out as far as, who's going to have me on the podcast, you have to act on that immediately. So this is someone that I've been looking forward to chatting with. And, despite the, crazy time difference between the two of us, I'm really excited to be chatting. So the best self-taught guitar player in the world, band security, D, a.k.a. Dive Bomb Dennis of Gang Called Speed on the Scoped Exposure podcast. Thanks for joining me today, my friend.
What is up? Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully that intro lives up to your great name.
I hope so.
So, Dennis, I don't know if you've listened to any of these episodes before, but, obviously... Oh, great. Good to know.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of research. I love to hear that. But before we get into any of the music chats and any of the hardcore chats, we have to check some bevs before the show gets going. So tell me what you got drinks-wise for the show today.
You got here, it's a Bundaberg ginger beer.
Oh, okay.
This is ginger beer from it's like a little town in Australia. I think it's up north. This is a really good drink. Mm-hmm. So if you ever... Have you had one of these before?
Never. And I'm very much appreciating the what it comes in, the glass.
Yeah.
It's that's not something that you can normally get over here. I have a feeling that maybe Josh or someone else has maybe had one of those before, but
oh right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is like a real yummy drink. Mm-hmm. That refreshing. It's really good cold. It's like, but
yeah. Is that a twist cap, or you got to get a bottle opener situation for that?
One of these ones.
Oh.
Fuck it.
There you. Oh, okay. So it's a bit of a. It's kind of
like a ring.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, you're jacked enough that I'm sure you could find a way to open that thing up either way. So drinks wise for me, I'm on the tail end of one of these. Drinking.
Oh, Liquid Death.
Liquid Death. Do you have this in Australia?
We don't have those, but we first discovered those when we played Sound and Fury last year.
Right.
There was so many of that. I thought it was like some kind of energy drink at first.
Right, which is kind of the original idea of, I don't know if you're familiar, but the guy who started this was on Warped Tour and seeing all the monster cans, and he's like, why is all these bands who are dehydrated drinking Shrek piss when they should be drinking a bottle of water?
Absolutely.
And then made a cool can to have some badass water in it, so.
Yeah, there was so much of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of photos, and it was like, oh yeah, the Liquid Death presence is felt for sure.
Yeah, I was like, why is people drinking so much like energy drinks, man? And then realized, and I opened one, I was like, oh shit, this is water.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is water.
Yeah. I know, at least, where I'm at in Canada, it's like we have the still and the sparkling, but we don't have any of the flavored stuff. We don't have any of the iced tea stuff that they just dropped. So I feel for you not being able to, grab one of these cans. But the ginger beer does look good. I will say that.
Yeah, it's good. What is that? Is that just the water or that the one?
So the black can's the sparkling kind, and the
Oh,
white
right.
can, which is probably what you saw at the fest,
Yeah, yeah,
that's like just still water.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
So I actually have a second bev because I'm at the tail end of this, so I want to make sure that I had a lot of beverages for our convo. I picked this up the other day, and I'm excited to have it. So I don't normally drink peace tea, but
Oh,
the strawberry lemonade flavor caught my eye. So that I have that after, and it's like the can is actually bigger than the actual liquid death,
yeah.
which is crazy. So I feel like I have to crack the fresh bev to cheers you before we get into the episode here.
For
So,
sure.
can't I feel like it's bad karma to cheers you off of the bev that I've already had open.
I actually have a bunch of bevs on this table right now.
Oh, really?
Like half drink. Like you only got this. It's called Kirk's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got Kirk's.
No, I haven't had.
Yeah, Pasito. This is like a passion fruit flavor.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the gas. This one.
that is gas. Very good. Well,
Yeah.
Dennis, cheers to you, my friend. Really excited to do the pod with you finally.
Cheers.
Boom.
Dessert.
That
How's that?
is-
How's that go?
That's delightful. I think
Yeah.
I've been sleeping on peace tea, honestly.
I've never heard of peace tea actually.
I think it's like mainly well, no, I've seen a lot in Canada, but like this flavor specifically, I was like, oh, it's probably like less tea. I don't know. I'm just not an iced tea kind of guy, but
Yeah.
this is good. This feels like I'm conjuring summer in the midst of the blisteringly cold snowstorm that we're in right now here in Canada. So
Is it mad snowing right now?
yeah, bro. It's
Oh shit.
like I know that Speed is playing in Toronto in not
Yeah,
too
how
long
far
from
is-
now. But the thing is, out there, they don't like they'll get snow, but then it will like
Mhm.
melt. It'll just
Yeah.
kind of be like more chilly. But where I'm at, like I'm closer to like the mountains, so it's like
Oh
we get dumps. So
yeah. I thought snow was cool, but I mean, imagine living in it.
yeah, I've seen it firsthand with some bands that play out where I'm at,
Yeah.
and it'll snow randomly, and they've never seen snow in their life, and they're like piecing it together like they're 4 years old, like they're just losing their mind. So Dennis, since any first time guest that comes here on the show, I always like to get a bit of context about their
Of
origin
course.
story, how
Mhm.
they discovered hardcore heavy music. So take me like way back in time to like the first time that you heard that
Ooh.
distorted guitar, someone screaming, whatever that was for you specifically.
That was a fuck, hell. I got into like I guess like distorted guitar music when I was like 15. So I'm like 30. What am I? I'm 34 now. So a really long time ago. I don't know. It's when I picked up a guitar when I was 15, and I heard all these bands like I guess like like your standard like AC/DCs, Led Zeppelin, and like all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And then I don't know because my dad he played in bands and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I kind of just like picked it up from that.
So you're like a
Like,
second generation rocker in your family.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I kind of just picked it up from that. But in terms of like heavy music, I don't know. Like I can't. I don't actually know that. I don't actually remember the first
Yeah,
time I heard.
I'm
Like,
making you think here.
yeah. I mean, it's just like now I got to think about it.
Yeah. Was your
But
dad into heavy music as well?
no,
No.
no. He played like more like traditional like Thai rock and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Thai and like Lao rock,
Hmm.
like traditional music, but the first time I heard it, like rock music, rock like guitar rock, but heavy music was probably like I wanna say it's just like probably like Parkway Drive or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, it was probably Parkway Drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, how does music become this heavy? You know, like, because like obviously listening like old rock music, the heaviest I probably like heard was probably like, I don't know, Metallica or like Pantera or something like that. But then in like, and you just discover this like whole new thing. It's like hardcore,
Right.
metal, metalcore, whatever it is. And it's like, oh shit. It's like music can be this heavy. So yeah, I discovered like Parkway Drive because I was into like more like emo stuff before, prior to this.
Hmm.
Like, bands like Being Used, My Chemical Romance, and like just stuff like that. And then just one day, a mate of mine just showed me all this like heavier bands,
Right.
Parkway, like Hate Breed, and like Machine Head, and all like these other bands that aren't as soft as
Right.
emo, screamo stuff.
Yeah, kind of snuffed it
And then
out once you heard like
yeah,
true breakdowns. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I discovered this CD. It was in Australia. We used to have this fest called Hardcore. Like, it's legit just called Hardcore.
Oh,
Yeah, Resist Records would put it on
okay.
like every year. So there's
I
this
like that there's nothing else. It's just not even this is hardcore,
yeah,
just hardcore.
it was called Hardcore O something, and
I
then
see. Cool.
that it had a compilation. I actually snuck into this show. This is like probably one of my first few hardcore shows that I went to. It was like I actually snuck into it. I was still in school, and the show it had like either the band Carpathian, I Killed the Prom Queen, and all this bunch of Australian hardcore bands on it. And I snuck into that show, and and I think from then that's when everything just I was like, I saw the pit, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is sick,
Hmm.
this is sick, and then there was this compilation CD that they had there. It's called. It had like all the record labels at the time. They had like it's like samplers of the songs for the band.
Right.
Yeah, so that had this compilation, and then I discovered that, and I took that compilation and I took it home, and that's when I discovered all these bands.
Right. That's something that
Yeah,
like you don't see nowadays. Like I've
no,
gone to record stores and bought like comp CDs. Like I think I
yeah,
bought way back in the day I bought like a Vans Warped Tour comp CD. Like I never went to Vans, but like I was like, "Oh, like this has a bunch of bands that I already know, but it's also a way that I can find out about bands." But that's like
yeah,
a really like and I don't know if it would really work with stuff nowadays, but like that's kind of a I guess like the modern day version of that is Fest making like playlists with all the bands that are
playlists, yes,
playing where they
definitely,
can do that.
yeah,
But like the
yeah,
fact that you can like merchandise and sell something physical is maybe that's just something that's just gone and might not
yeah,
make a return because of technology. I don't know.
absolutely. So yeah, it was that compilation CD that I found, and I remember taking it to school and just jamming this one song. You know the band 50 Lions?
50?
Yeah.
No. There's
50,
definitely an era of heavy music or hardcore where there
yeah.
was a lot of bands that had lines in their name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a band called 50 Lions that were from here, from Byron Bay. Uh had this song, it's called Life in the Dog Box. And that's when I discovered like hardcore music.
Hmm.
That obviously I discovered this thing where it's like, oh, it's fully heavy and stuff, heavy music, and then this is not, and then there's like a whole different like realm of hardcore, like I guess like traditional hardcore, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh shit, this sounds really cool and like real groovy, and like this is a whole different like type of hardcore. So then I just like, and this is a time when MySpace was still around, from there it was like I just discovered, just researched more,
Hmm.
more and more bands, and got into like, bands like Terror, Madball, you know, Agnostic Front, and all more like traditional like hardcore bands. Like that's when and then from then on, and just like, you know,
Game over.
that's it.
Right.
That's when
Yeah.
that wasn't it forever.
Yeah. Yeah. It is
It's
funny.
like that.
It is funny how you said how like, like a lot of people started off with like the Metallicas, like, and even
Yeah.
going earlier to like the first band you said was AC/DC, and it's like
Mm,
the the way that those songs are recorded, and I think it's mainly the vocals that kind of like don't give those riffs and
yeah.
those things like the heaviness that they deserve. Like there's a dude that oh, yeah, so the guitar player of Creed has a side project called Tremonti because his name is Mark Tremonti, and
Yeah. So yeah.
musically it's so
Mm,
fucking heavy and like in my opinion like very masterfully written, but as soon as the vocals come on it's like, oh, if you had like a seasoned hardcore vet screaming over this, it would be the
ooh,
fucking biggest band ever. But there's like
yeah.
a thing with like hard metal or like certain bands that are just have that like Nickelback-esque vocal style that will kind of put it over it, but it like, and it takes it into that like hard rock category.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But if you just like, you've seen so many bands at fests or at shows, they're like, we're just gonna intro with the riff of Metallica or the Pantera or whatever. And it's like, it's
Yeah.
still hard, but it
Yeah.
is funny how like vocals can just transport into a totally different genre. It's like, it's all about the
Absolutely.
context, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, like this could be like without the vocals, it's like, oh, it's just not the heaviest. It's like a hardcore song. It's like a lot of the metal bands are like that,
Hmm.
It's like you listen to these songs and it's like, oh, you just listen just to the riff. It's like, okay, yeah, this is just a pure hardcore song. But then you put in the vocals and it's like, oh no, it's a whole different like genre now, like,
Totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is very crazy to like see people take stuff and repurpose it within the hardcore
yeah,
world.
absolutely.
Yeah. So let's move to some speed discussions.
No, of
Like
course.
we've had Jem on the show twice at this point. Josh has been on, Aaron's been on. So you're the
Yeah,
fourth member of
yeah,
Speed on the
yeah.
podcast. And so we've covered through this podcast, we've been able to cover like the very beginnings. We talked about, I think, on Jim and Josh's episode about like um, kind of the "We See You" explosion. But I want to talk before we get into the current stuff, as far as like you guys doing shows with Turnstile and then playing in Southeast Asia. I
Mm,
want to talk about um, like because Jem and I covered a lot of the origin and the idea of speed on some of
uh-huh.
his episodes, but I want to like go back to the beginning and hear that from your perspective because I
Of
think
course, yeah.
like Jem talked a lot about like I wanted to play in a hardcore band that kind of
Yeah,
revitalized Australian hardcore. And I knew that I wanted to have my brother into it, and then we were kind of seeking out other members. And from
yeah.
the interviews and the discussions with him, it sounds like it's like, oh, Dennis has just been around forever, so like obviously he needs to be in it. So like, talk to me about like joining the band or when the band idea was introduced to you.
Okay, yeah. So I've been playing in a band. I've been playing in bands for since I actually started going to hardcore shows. I mean, a couple of years after. Um, so I played in a band called Relentless from here, and we've been a band since like 2006, I think it was. So we've done a lot of things. We toured America, Europe,
Mhm.
Southeast Asia. We're like one of the first few hardcore bands of our era to do that kind of those kind of tours.
Right.
And at the time, I think around I want to say around 2015, hardcore in Australia kind of died down.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of phased out. Not phased out, but like people weren't going to shows. People weren't like
There was
weren't active.
a lull of some kind.
Yeah, there was like it was just going on a dip, and me, Jem, me and the guys, all the guys actually, we've all been friends for like a really long time, and every time we'd see each other around, we'd be like, "Yo, we got to do a band. We got to do a band. I'm gonna sing." And Jem's like, "I'm gonna sing," and Aaron's gonna play such and such. Originally, Aaron was meant to like learn drums.
Oh, really?
For some reason.
Oh yeah, he did bring that up, and he's like, "Guys, I've never touched an instrument in my life. Let me like take the easiest one."
Yeah.
And you're like, "All right,
yeah. He was meant to learn drums. He's like, yeah, we see each other around parties and stuff, and Jem's like, yo, me, you and Aaron, we gotta do a band. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And at the time, I was like, wasn't really doing anything. I was ready to like stop playing music completely. I was ready.
You're like,
So
I've done enough. It's time to hang my
head.
Yeah.
I sold all a bunch of my guitars and stuff.
Oh,
and
okay.
Like,
so you were in the process of like,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was selling all my gear. But yeah, anyway. So then the idea came. It was an idea for a really, really long time. Because Jen played in bands as well, like for a long time. And it's just the idea of creating a new hardcore band just to exist in Australian hardcore, just to like get people more excited about it. And the idea came 2019, I think it was. Like that's when it was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And then Jem, I think he wrote the demo, and then he showed us these songs. It's like, oh, this is sick. Oh, this is really good. And then we're going through like, because the members had been set at this point. It was Jem singing, Aaron on bass, and myself on guitar. And obviously we need to get a drummer at the time. So there was a show. I played in another band called Board with Kane, our drummer.
Oh, okay. So you were the connection into Kane. Okay, I got you.
Yes. So Kane played in Relentless as well. He played bass in Relentless.
Oh, okay. So, he's multi-instrumental as well. Wow.
Yeah, that guy can play everything. So
sponsored by Zildjian, soon Fender.
Yeah, that's it. So we're at the show. It was a day-by-day show, actually. It was day-by-day, Primitive Blast, Board, and a bunch of other bands. And Jem was talking about this starting a band with us. And Kane's like, oh, you guys need a drummer. Like, I can do it. And then from then on, it was like, had the first jam. And that was it. And then Kane joined, and then we needed another guitarist. So I think, then they jammed. It was the three of them, Kane, Jem, and Aaron. They had a jam. And then that's when I was like, yeah, they're going to start the band. And we needed a second guitarist. So then Josh joined. And because Josh is, a really good friend of ours. He's cool. And then Josh joined, and then we had our first jam. It was like October 2019. But we had our first jam. And then we played our first show in November 2019. Yeah.
And then the world went to shit.
Yeah. and everyone went to
yeah, which we don't have to cover, but like it is cool to hear how like the connection points of all like, you playing with Kane and you kind of making that bridge and,
Yeah.
him doing that. But it sounds like even before the discussion of this band for years, it sounds like y'all have been running at shows together for a long time. So
yeah, we've been friends for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a bit older than them by a few years. They're like kind of like how hardcore comes in like generations.
Yes, of course.
Sometimes, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of like the one before them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I'm a bit like I'm a few years older than them.
Yeah, you're the cool uncle of the band.
Yeah. but somehow we just came together and just made this thing.
Mm-hmm.
We honestly didn't think Speed was honestly just meant to be a band that would probably play like.
Well, it's really crazy to hear how you were like, you were on your way, not like out of hardcore, but out of like the band stuff. And like,
yeah, I was ready to give it up.
Yeah, like me and you are close-ish in age. I just turned 30 like a few months ago, and like there was definitely times, even a couple of years back before I was in like the bands I'm at, where I was like, should I still, like, I'm still gonna go to shows and I want to be involved in doing that, but then like I felt like as soon as I had one band that like kind of had a bit of momentum, it almost like put new wind to my sails to like start other bands. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think that there's a bit of a there's a bit of a thing if your project or you've been playing in bands for so long and then nothing has really caught fire and you're like, nah.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how you're like, yeah, I was like selling shit and kind of purging my inventory when it comes to gear. And when I was doing research for this episode, like you're posting all the time of like when you got new gear on so it's just funny how one other conversation where you're like, maybe I don't play in this band, you would be gearless and be watching from the sidelines as Speed. I don't know, like if Speed would even be a thing. Like that timeline is so dark, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, I sometimes think about it. Like I was like, oh, what if I didn't do this? What if I was like, oh no, I'm gonna try, start a career, in something, have a family or something. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, it's gonna be so different,
Right, totally.
Like, it's been a whole different thing. But I think, joining this band has been a real, I guess, blessing.
Yeah. Well, borderline life-changing as well, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like a whole different level since I've like with all the bands I've played in. If for all of us, like it's just like so, different, a whole different level. Like we try to process it like as it comes. Trying to navigate all these different things that we never had to before. Because we're a hardcore band, and it's just like it's just crazy.
So we talked about like the very beginning, when it comes to your perspective. Let's fast forward all the way to like the most current stuff that Speed is up to these days. So you guys just finished up not only doing a bunch of shows with Turnstile, but also doing some headlining shows in Southeast Asia. Which would you want to cover first? Because I'm sure those are their own unique experiences for like opening up for inarguably one of the biggest hardcore bands in the world right now, as well as getting to headline and play. Like seeing the videos from Jakarta or any of those places was crazy. So yeah, which one tickles your fancy the most that you want to talk about first?
That whole, like, I guess this past few weeks or month, sorry, has been, it's been like it's been crazy. How can I put it into words, to be honest? But yeah, those turnstile shows, they were like memorable.
Hmm.
You know, they're like these just two hardcore bands doing, playing hardcore music in like these venues are like, 1,000+ cap venues,
Yeah,
and
it's not
these
even
are
a venue anymore; it's an amphitheater.
oh no, yeah, it's like these venues are like pretty iconic venues in Australia,
Mm.
you know, and having like two hardcore bands play these to like a crowd of like 1,000+ people is like is a whole crazy experience, and yeah, those turnstile shows are just super memorable,
It's
you
always
know.
funny seeing hardcore bands play huge stages because
Yeah,
we're all used to playing like oh, we get to play on a stage, awesome. But like we're also
yeah,
very much used to playing on the floor, playing in houses where like we're all like shoulder to shoulder with our homies, right? But
yeah,
like
yeah,
sometimes it's like, oh, this football field size of the stage is mine, and then like way
yeah.
over there is Jem has to like run all the way to get to my side of the stage. Like it's just
Yeah,
funny, but yeah, I
it's like,
don't
what do you
know.
do? What do you do all this space? The stages were big. I'm like, what do I do with this space?
Hmm.
I couldn't like, yeah, I couldn't like, I couldn't navigate
Yeah.
the stage.
Was there anything that was like, like you said, it's two hardcore bands playing hardcore music, but like
Mhm.
the scale at to which that is happening is crazy. Was there anything in the prep before the shows were happening where like it was just really just just like you were taken aback as like, oh, like we got like I got my own mix in the monitor here, or the fact that we got fucking a green room with every treat and snack that we want. I don't know the context of those things, but was there anything that was like, oh, this like normally never happens at a hardcore show, if you know what I mean?
Merge cuts.
Merge cuts. Oh, from the venue.
Yeah, yeah. That was like a whole different thing. And I'm like, this happens in these kind of venues.
Right.
Like,
Which
shit, it's
is
shit. It
which is
sucks,
just
but
a wild I don't understand the business, like the
no,
practical business sense around that. It's like we've
no,
already paid you to rent out this space,
yeah,
hired probably people to run sound and security and all this
hmm
bullshit. And
hmm
also you're gonna take a cut of my merch?
yeah. It made no sense. It made no sense to all of us. We were like, you know.
Mm,
But like, luckily enough, um, you know, the guys, they know what they're doing, so they sort it all out.
can I like are you comfortable saying how much they cut like roughly per show
I
or
I personally wouldn't know.
oh okay. But
Yeah, I don't know.
if anything, it's even if it was 1%, that's too much in my opinion.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, absolutely. It's like our money. Like, what do you what do you do? What do you want of it?
That's like
That
I don't even know. Maybe this analogy is whack because I'm making it up on the spot. That's like going to McDonald's, buying a meal, sitting down, and then someone taking a bite out of it, like at the end of your last bite. They're like, "Oh, let me take a little bit of that."
that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Right.
But yeah, that's I
Not
think
exactly,
that
but you're giving me grace.
almost.
Almost, almost.
Yeah. But yeah, that I think that was other than that, I think
Are those the only shows that you guys have played where that's happened?
um yes.
Okay.
Yes. Uh, in our like career, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had maybe maybe I've had to do it a few times in my own bands, but
At least for speed, that was the one and
yeah.
only. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. That was not the thing that I was expecting you to say, but that checks out
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
But other than that, like having a green room was cool, you know. And all these venues are really nice too. So it's not just like a little fucking
Like a folding
little
chair.
like
It's like a lazy boy
yeah,
couch.
yeah. You know, you get
Right.
into these green rooms like they're like decked out and like nice, couches and like, cool riders and
Mm.
but yeah, it was a crazy experience.
What's like the go-to Dennis Ryder snack that if you could have that at any show you're playing? What's like the one thing that you would wish?
I never had to think about this question.
You got to think about it now.
Yeah,
Speed's
but
only getting bigger, bro.
that's it. But our riders do consist of like uh energy drinks, like Monster energy drinks,
Mm. Okay.
uh Gatorades,
Gatorades. Okay.
protein bars.
I was hoping protein powder, like just like a
Oh,
tub.
yeah. We should start asking for protein powder.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because the protein
And
bars
like
are just like straight up sugar sometimes.
it's yeah, and fruit, lots of fruit,
What's your fruit
lots
of
of fruit.
choice?
My fruit of choice is watermelon.
Watermelon. Okay.
Yeah, the watermelon's one of my all-time favorite foods.
Hmm.
Watermelon and mango.
Mango.
Yeah.
See, mango is something I always want to get, but the process of like getting into, like, it's not just something you can just bite into.
No,
You know?
you
Not
gotta,
like you could do that with watermelon either, but it's like
yeah,
there's this giant ass seed and then you gotta fucking
yeah,
search the TikTok of how to properly cut a mango, and it's like
yeah.
it's just a headache.
You're like, oh, I've been doing it wrong the whole time. I just peel the skin off and just. But yeah, that's the rider.
Okay. So
Yeah,
the lesson learned for the listeners is bring watermelon and mango next time.
watermelon. Yep, watermelon and mango.
Yeah. Watermelon in one hand, protein powder in the other hand.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Very sick. Okay, so talk turnstile. Let's talk about the Southeast Asia shows. Cause
Ooh,
you know, like again, two totally different experiences as far as, you know, playing. Oh, before we get to
yeah.
that,
Mhm.
there was a TikTok going around of some kid at one of the shows where he like ran and then like jumped over people and just ate it. It was like during your guys' set, and you are there, and I think you catch it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's at the turnstile. That was a turnstile show.
Yeah, this guy like pole vaults
I've seen it.
himself over people to no one.
Yeah,
And it's like during like a breakdown, like kind of like a
yeah.
ring out part, and I see you look down, you're like, whoop.
Do you want to know the story behind that?
Please hit me with it.
Okay, so that was the last song. That was during Not That Nice. And it's
Right.
that part that goes dun, 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 dun. So it was a crazy, this is just coincident and just the crazy timing of it.
Uh-huh.
So Kane plays that bit, the drum bit on that song. We're playing the octave, like intro bit. Kane fucked it up.
Oh, he fucked up the part.
He fucked up the part. It's not. We didn't stop because of that. Because of the guy eating shit. That just happened to happen at that point in time.
That's so funny.
And then, I actually didn't see that happen. So in your video, you see me looking at the thing. I'm trying to figure out what that noise was because all I can hear was this loud bang.
Right.
And then that video came out, and I was like, oh, this guy just like.
Oh, that was the loud bang.
Yeah, that was the loud bang. And
right.
In the video, you see me like looking like this because I'm just trying to figure out what happened.
Right. You're processing multiple things. Kane fucking up the drum part,
Yeah,
and then this loud bang out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then that happened, and then it just kind of just, that was the timing of it, and it was funny.
Dude,
so when the video came out, that was funny.
Yeah,
That was
I'm definitely the shared notes between Jordan and I'm like, we have to find that clip so we could take this part of the podcast and put it next to it, because
Yeah.
I watched that thing so many times. Like, again, your reaction, whether it, like, you had no idea, but it looks like you were just like, damn, bro, that sucks.
Yeah.
Let's play the riff. It's
That's
funny.
it.
One of my bands played a show, like,
Mhm.
God, yeah, yesterday. And there was a dude, his name is Jamie. He's a photographer here in Calgary. And I was really excited that he was there because he's like definitely like one of the top Calgary photographers, doing shit right now. So I was like, oh, he's gonna take photos of my band, get the new profile pic, all that good shit. And he's a good dude at the end of the day. Second song into our set, I'm like, he's standing in front of me, and this is not a turnstile amphitheater level event. This is like floor basement community center show. But he likes to get really low on a lot of his shots. Like he'll just be like,
Mhm.
kind of like get in that angle. But he's in the trenches where people are spin kicking and throwing hands and whatever. And
Yeah.
the booker of the show, shout out to Logan, spin kick, and this was all accidental, obviously, but he spin kicked, and I think he was like had the camera in front of his face and just like into his face. And I see him, and I was like, I saw him go, and then he was like kind of grabbing his head. I was like, whoa, that sucks. Then I saw him like trickle off, and then I found out he had like a gash in his eyebrow.
Oh, no.
Like,
Yeah.
probably, I don't even know. This could be exaggerating, but like maybe like that big. Like,
That's huge.
yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it was enough where, and apparently it was like gushing blood, had to go to the hospital, get stitches. Shout out to the free Canadian healthcare, but it was like, I felt bad for all the touring bands that were playing because like I'm like, sorry, you guys aren't gonna have any photos anymore because our band took out the photographer unintentionally. So, yeah,
Damn.
but it is funny, like when you're again, you're super high up on this big stage with all this
Yeah.
space, and then all these things are happening. You're like, and then you see the
And
video that comes
that
out.
stage is huge.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the guy's intentions were. Like, you seen how far he's jumping?
Yeah, like it's not even a jump. It's like a Superman like pole vault. Like just
Yeah.
like, I believe I can fly. Like I don't even know.
That's what it was. It's
Yeah.
like, where you going, dude? Like, where you jumping to?
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah. So shout out to that person if you're listening.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing okay.
Hope he's good. Yeah, hope he's good. Hope he's good.
Let's talk Southeast Asia. So
Uh-huh.
played 4, 5.
It's 4 shows.
Four
Yeah.
shows. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 shows. Yeah.
It was very cool to see a lot of the support bands who were a part of that. Many people that have been on the podcast before. Whispers really, really recently came on.
They're the homies.
Yeah. Shout out to Ole.
Ole.
And then this is way, way back, I think in season 1 of the podcast. But
Yeah.
Dahlia from Fuse came on like
Oh yes.
a
Yeah.
long time ago. And that
Yeah.
band's, felt like they were on
Yes.
hiatus for a bit, and now they're back with all this
Yeah.
new shit. So seeing both
cool.
of their names on that tour poster, I was very excited. But yeah,
Yeah.
talk to me about Speed's first time in Southeast Asia.
Ooh. So we got there pretty early, like a few days early, just to hang out.
Mm.
With all the Thai we hung out in Thailand for a few days with the Thai crew. With Whispers, shout out Whispers, Depressed, and the Shredder, a bunch of all our Thai friends.
Mhm.
These are people I've met like years ago. Like the first time I went to Southeast Asia was 2011. So some of these people I've known for like a really, really, really long time.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got there pretty early, and then the first show was in Bangkok. And it was honestly, it was like I didn't personally know what to expect of it. But I always knew that Southeast Asia, but Bangkok especially, having a great hardcore scene for a really, really long time.
Hmm.
Especially like because I've experienced it like 2 times already before this.
Right.
But going there with speed was like a whole different thing.
Hmm.
You know, the show was like insane. You know, the show was huge. Yeah, and having like people like coming up to us. You know, after the set had finished, I don't think I don't know you see in the video or photo of just like people just swarming up Jem.
Oh, no, I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, everyone wanted to get a photo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we finished the set and everyone's just coming up on stage, and Jem's there trying to process this whole thing. He's like, thank you," and
Right.
everyone's just like trying to wanting to get photos.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that whole thing, the whole getting of having your picture taken is like a different thing.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're just normal people. You know, why don't take a photo of us?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool. It's cool. But you obviously we don't get that in like no one's gonna come take photos of us in Australia or in America or anything like or, countries like that. But yeah, having that experience is like was cool.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
also different, also foreign as well. Like,
Yeah, like honestly, when you guys are over here for your for your US shows, I'm sure even when you go to the UK, I'm sure there's going to be people that like want to snap a pic because it's like to your credit, it is a little strange because w- the the thing when I was first getting into hardcore was like, oh, the guy in the cool band that I came here to see is not like tucked away in the back room in like in a
yeah,
special VIP or whatever. It's like he's just a
yeah,
regular dude that's like shitting in the same stall that I'm shitting in. Like it's
yeah,
it much like it's a loving level playing field for everyone, and like
absolutely.
there is definitely like a bit of there's always there's a gray area per se because like there's definitely people that like who are coming to a show and they almost have this weird expectation to like talk the ear off of like the person in the cool band. And it's not that the person in the cool band is like, yeah, I'll talk to you, but it's like if you're gonna take an hour of my time, like there's all these other homies and other people that I would like to talk to
Yeah.
as well. So there's a bit of a gray area there. There was a person that was like uh Knocked Loose played our regional fest not too long ago, like half a year ago. And there was and I was standing next to Brian on stage for Inclination because they were also
Hmm.
playing. And there was someone like at the front of the stage, not to watch Inclination, but trying to get Brian's attention. And like his composure for like not giving a fuck about it was like very impressive to me. But like I can't even imagine like this there's such a weird thing where it's like there is like social elements to our community, but like I agree that like anyone should be able to go up to Jim or any person in
Absolutely.
hardcore and be like, "Yo, what's up?" But there is a degree of self-awareness that you need to practice because otherwise you're just going to
Yeah.
look a little foolish for sure.
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, those shows. Yeah. We were just talking about the Thailand show. So that happened,
Mhm.
and it happened. Happened at every show. Like going moving forward.
Right, right.
You know, with the KL show, Singapore, in Jakarta. You know, and I don't want to like obviously like you want to give the people the time, the day, and stuff. But there's a point where it's like, oh shit, it gets too much.
Right.
You can't be taking photos of like every single person.
Dude, yeah. Like
I mean, like, yeah, it's just like, yeah, I gotta do my thing as well, you know. So
so like I always appreciate when bands do like the yo, we're gonna take a pic, everyone like pile up, because then it's like
yeah,
that's the one pic for everyone. Screen
we
cap
did that.
that, save it, you can post it on your own timeline or whatever. But
Yeah,
there is a strange but like, again, it's like it must be overwhelming for someone to care so much about what Speed is doing, what you're doing musically,
Absolutely.
to be like,
Yeah.
you know, like if it's an autograph, if it's a picture, if it's just like, hey, I need to tell you, like, as
Yeah.
you know, whether it's like I fucked with your music or like what you guys are doing for the hardcore scene, like
Yeah.
globally, or just like you know, Asian representation, like whatever like coin it is, like it is something that's like, you know, it's super humbling for sure. And
Absolutely.
it's like kind of the
100%.
thing where it's like if I have to do that to 100 kids, like
Yeah.
after a set when I'm gassed, like bro,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah. And you see it. You can see it when all of us actually, like, we're getting like, it's super humbling feeling, but it got super overwhelming at the same time as well.
Mhm.
It's like people care this much to, like, don't want to, like, get an autograph or, like, you know take a pic. Yeah, yeah, it just got super, like, got overwhelming, especially for me. It did get overwhelming.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know about the other guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty sure
Like
it did for them as well.
every member of this band who's
Pretty
either
sure.
been on the podcast has been an absolute sweetheart, and I have
Yeah,
nothing but good things to say about you guys, but like there are there are people that got like who started their project not to be famous, who not to have
absolutely.
to
No,
like
no,
have to
no.
think about like where they're going to be at the show, or even not go to shows in their local scene because like they're that, you know, it's like I want to
Yeah,
go to support my friends, but I know I'm going to draw more attention by this. So like, and I'm not even just saying that, like I've had conversations with friends who people who've been on the podcast that are like I want to go to this thing, but I know it's going to almost like take away from like the locals who are playing. So I don't
yeah,
know. I would encourage people to, if they are very excited to see a band or like to talk to a certain member, think about what you're going to say and like boil it down into that like 1 minute few sentence kind of thing, because I I think any musician loves to hear that their music has impacted anyone,
for sure,
stranger
for
wise,
sure.
but at the same time, like, don't overstay your welcome. People got
Yeah,
shit to do.
that's right.
Was there
But
any
yeah,
was there any other weird like fan encounters on those shows, or any speech show in general?
no,
No.
not that I can think of.
No one
Not
asked
that I
you
can
to
think of.
like sign anything weird, or like ask you a
Uh,
strange question about your acting career or anything?
actually, when people do ask me about like about my acting career and stuff, I'm just like, I'm like, obviously, I'm not that, I'm not a private person or anything, and everyone knows that I do acting.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone, like, cares enough to ask me that, I'm like, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I give them the time to, like, to talk about it.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're definitely gonna get into that later in the combo, but yeah, it's really cool to see Speed start to like check off some boxes as far as like not only like scenes that you guys are gonna get to play, but like countries and like different places around the
hmm,
world that like,
yeah.
you know, taking
Plus,
that Australian hardcore worldwide, baby.
yeah, Southeast Asia was one of the first places we were like, when we started this band, we're like, yes, we have to,
Mm-hmm.
we have to go to Southeast Asia. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like no ifs or buts. That's like one place we had to actually go.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that was we did it.
Yeah. Is it the same as the Turnstile shows where it's like, you know, touring doesn't mean, at least in Australia, and I'm not
Mm.
sure if it's the same in Asia, touring in that context doesn't mean like jumping in a van and driving for hours and hours, because it's like the shows are so far apart.
In
So like
Asia?
well, yeah, just correct refer. Were you driving for all the shows in Asia?
No, no, in Asia, no.
Oh, okay. Were you
We flew
driving for
everywhere.
shows in Australia, or you were flying everywhere?
We flew everywhere in Australia as well.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
except for the Sydney to Brisbane.
Got you.
We drove Sydney to Brisbane.
Yeah. Is that like hella expensive, or like is flying within the country there like the same if you were driving?
In Asia or here?
Both. I'm kind of generally curious
Oh,
about it.
in Australia, it can get really expensive.
Mm.
Like a flight to the west coast of Australia, which is in Perth, would be around like 600, anywhere between 400 to 600
A
one
person?
way. Yeah,
One way?
one way. I think sometimes it's like like a shit time. It's like it's like almost like 600 one way.
Dude, that's crazy.
It's insane. So what
It's
we
hard
did was
enough for bands to come to you. It's hard enough for you just to play shows within your own scene.
yeah,
That's wild.
yeah, flights can get really expensive here,
Mhm.
in interstate flights. So what we did was we flew from we flew from Sydney to Perth, and then we flew from Perth to Bangkok,
Got you. Okay.
which worked out so much cheaper.
Mhm.
We flew, so we just killed, we just played a show on our way to Asia in Perth the night before. So we played in Perth, and then we flew to Thailand.
That is crazy. Like, there's enough space between um some cities here in Canada. Like, that's a
Mhm.
big thing. Like, where I'm based, it's like the scenes are like really spread out, but like people here are really dedicated and really want to like make their scenes pop, like really go the distance. It just like really puts it into perspective with, a place like California or a place like, the Northeast, like where it's like
Yeah,
everything is like within an hour. Like, if anyone in that scene's like, oh, that show's 2 hours away, maybe I'll skip it. It's like,
yeah,
bro, I would like trade many organs of my body to have all of my scenes that I'm, connected to just like an hour to 2 hours um closer, because it's just wild on how much you can do when things are more condensed that way. But like,
absolutely.
even when it's not, in your case, you guys were still making it happen, and fucking,
Yeah,
you know, you're not flying
it's
because
like
you prefer that. It's like the only
uh,
way.
yeah, but before this, every band drove. And I think this next tour we're doing, soon. Uh, we're driving everywhere
Oh, okay.
for this one. Yeah, and the drives between the cities in Australia are they're pretty long. They're like about 8 to 10 hours each city.
Mm,
So like Brisbane to Sydney is like around 10 hours. Sydney to Melbourne, so around that, the same,
right.
almost the same. And there's only like a few cities you can play here. It's like
Right.
there's like only four, I guess, four major cities here that you can play. Oh, five. You include Perth as well.
Mhm.
But then there's like little like towns in between,
Right.
like in the city. So there's like Sydney, then there's like a Newcastle, which is like 3 hours away.
Right.
Then there's like Canberra, which is like 3 hours out.
Hmm.
But yeah, but flying has been cool. It's really like
I guess it's more downtime to just chill. Like,
yeah,
there is something to be said about being in the van with your bros and just, all of the random ventures in the random
you
parts that
can't
you are experiencing
yeah
together. But yeah,
you can't
like,
beat that.
you can't beat that. Not at all.
You can't beat that. That's a whole hardcore experience almost. You know.
What's the one like place in Australia that Speed hasn't played yet,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
you're like, before this band, like, if this band goes on forever, like, it is a must for me to play this spot
Oh, in Australia,
in Australia. Yeah, yeah. That you haven't played yet.
like ever.
Ever. Yeah. And
Ooh.
and I don't know if like you could say something that like there's never been a hardcore show there before, but you're like, I want to be the first. I don't know.
There's a place in Darwin. So it's the Northern Territory. It's like kind of in it's up north. Sorry, it's like the middle. middle north or something. I was like, that's up north. I don't know the geography of the whole thing.
Right.
But yeah, the Northern Territory. It's like no, I don't think any. Maybe bands have been there, but I don't know that there's been any hardcore shows there. But Northern
Why do
Territory
you
would
want
be
to play
cool
that? Is it just like
because I've never been there.
never been there? Okay.
It's because I've never been there. I don't think any of us have been there. Yeah, Northern Territory.
Yeah.
Darling.
Well, if
Pretty
there's
cool.
one person from there who's listening, and you
Yeah.
know who books shows, or if even if there's no one that books shows, you book Speed.
Yeah.
Make it
Set
happen.
it up.
Set it up. Speaking of things that might or may not have been set up, talk to me about you guys meeting Shaq for 3 seconds. Because
All right.
there's been a lot of Speed breaks the internet moments, but I don't think any compare to that photo.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
So you know the Sound of Fury video.
Of course.
The one that fucking
Going crazy.
Tired already.
Millions of I think
retired.
Aaron came on just before that video came out, and then I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like this shit is crazy. But he commented on it, so he like it was crazy. Like he was like, he wants to be in the pit, and then it was like, boom, photo together. But I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But you're
yeah. So what happened was anyway, the video went viral, blah blah, and it got posted on his Instagram page called Viral Clips or something.
Yeah.
And the caption was, "Oh, are you going to this concert, whatever it is, or who's going to this concert?" And then Shaq comments on it.
He said me.
Me. But to be honest, I don't think it was obviously like famous people like this. I don't think they run the Instagram accounts. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know.
First off, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
And there's no way in heck that Shaq doesn't have access to his own account.
Of course he does.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I think that's very Shaq to just say me. I don't think you could pay an intern or whatever, like millennial, to have the brains of that kind of comedy.
No, that's true. I feel like, that makes more sense. I feel like he might have, So he comments on it, me, and then
a million likes.
He likes, and then all these like, these web pages get a glimpse of it. You're like, oh, Shaq commenting on Sydney band viral clip, this and that,
Right. The keywords are just going crazy.
All these keywords like Shaq commenting, concert, going to this concert, blah blah blah. And then at the time, Shaq was doing he did like a tour. It was like a he's a DJ or something. He was doing like a tour in Australia, and he was like doing like meet and greets and stuff like that. And the word got out that he's doing that, and one of the promoters that was doing the meet and greets shot us a message. He's like, "Oh, do you guys want to go to this thing, and meet Shaq?" And like,
of course, I'm gonna do that.
Like, yeah. But look, like, and we got to the day, we're like, oh yeah, gotta go meet Shaq. And we went, it was on the same day as our mate's his 30th birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he had something on, but he eventually just like postponed it. Not because of the Shaq thing.
You're like, we're gonna be a little late. Sorry.
Yeah.
We gotta meet Shaq.
Yeah, so we got to the day and we were like, oh, let's just can it, like, because it doesn't really like matter if we meet Shaq or not.
No.
But I personally wanted to be like, okay, cool, I met Shaq.
Right.
Because like I'm a basketball dude, and like, and it was cool. We were gonna go, and it was like this whole on when we got to the day, this whole like a lot of like fucking around with the promoter, like you know, maybe he's like, oh, maybe you can get we can get you in, but we get there, and it all worked out in the end. But then we get there on the day, and there was like all these people lining up. These people have paid money to go meet Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying like like $200-300 a ticket
And you're
for
like,
this meet.
excuse me,
Yeah, for
speed
this meet and greet.
security, guitars
So
and
this
speed
guy,
coming through.
so this guy takes us in the back room, like the back of the. It was in the casino.
Oh, okay.
Yes, in the casino. Takes us into this back area. Like it was like kind of the backstage to go onto the stage,
Right.
and they're going through security and stuff. And we get to the end, and there's a security guard there. It's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? What are you guys doing here? And the guy's like, oh yeah, Shaq. This is the band. Shaq knows them, and we're looking at each other like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't know. He doesn't know who the fuck
He
we are.
commented on one of our videos, just said me.
Yeah, and his promoter's like, oh yeah, he knows him. He knows him. I'm like, eh? No, he doesn't.
Bro, take that to your grave. Shaq knows me. Shaq knows.
And
my
they go,
band.
and then we got to the thing, and the guy was like, nah, you can't come this way. You got to go line up. So we go line up with all the ticket holders, all the civilians.
Right.
In the thing, and he gets to there's like two lines. There's like one line that goes in to ticket holders, and another one's like, I guess, like general people. So we get to this line. We line up for a good like 45 minutes or something.
Right.
We were like, fuck.
Can you
fuck.
see Shaq at this point, or is it like around the corner
Nah.
or something?
Around the corner, there's like this like big screen. There was like a big like a screen
Okay.
that covered him. It was like a pretty big screen. Like he's a big guy.
Yeah.
So we're lining up for about 45 minutes to like an hour or something, and we're just like, fuck, let's just go. Like, yeah, don't worry, let's just go. And it gets to like the end, and I think one of us was like, imagine we're the last people to take a photo. Imagine we're the last people. And there's like still like hundreds of people lining up waiting to see.
Yeah, behind you guys at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the other lines, and people that's paid money, because like the few shows before that, the few meet and greets before that, I think Shaq he'd bailed.
Like okay.
Early, he'd bailed early.
Yeah.
He'd bailed early, so they were like, "Fuck, he's probably gonna bail." Don't worry about it. And then we got to the end of and the guy comes out. The promoter comes in. And he's like, "Okay, follow me. Stick together. At least, like, you gotta stick with me." And it's like, we're all like in this line, waving through all these people, and the guy's like, you gotta stick with me. You gotta like, let's go. And then we got to the end.
Cutting all these people in front of you at this point.
we're cutting all these hundreds of people, and then we get to the line. We get to the end, and then there's Shaq. And I'm like, we're just like, it's really him. It's Shaq. Get to the thing.
What did he say? What did he say when he saw you guys?
Okay, this is the funny thing. So we get to the thing. It was like our band and then our manager, and then like we're there taking a photo. I just like, he didn't say anything. He didn't know who we were.
It's the band that Shaq knows. It's like, this guy doesn't even know.
Yeah. He's like, it's probably just a bunch of kids.
Where all these Australian tattooed people with band shirts on coming.
Yeah.
And why did they skip all these hundreds of people that are already in line?
And we were the last people to take a photo.
So after that, he's like, that's it. No more
photos.
Yeah,
and his manager or his like whatever it was, the promoter came. I was like, yeah, that's it.
Dude. So he didn't say anything to you guys?
No, all I said was, I said hello. That was it. I was like, oh, what's up? I was like, what's up, Big Diesel? He was like, what's up, man? That was it. I was gonna like, it was not enough time between like the photo and
so it literally was like, yo, what's up? Click, or I'm done
Yeah,
taking photos, and that was it.
that was it. It was like 3 seconds. Took the
That's
photo.
so
It was like, "What's up,
crazy.
man?" Took the photo because I was gonna show him the video. I was like, "Oh, yo, you seen
Do
the
you
video?"
remember this? It's like, oh no, that was my assistant.
Because I had the video, like I had my phone in my hand. I was like, and had the screenshot of the comment.
Right.
I was gonna about to show him. I was gonna show him, and I was like,
Dude,
kind of been.
I want to say next time, but I actually don't even know that there will be another time that you get to like have more than 3 seconds with Shaq.
No,
I'm very curious out of all the monthly listeners that you have if he is one of them.
imagine
Imagine.
when Shaq in the back of
Dude,
whatever he does now.
hardcore is so crazy that there's like
Mm.
all the like there are hundreds of people that saw you guys skip this line and they're like, who the fuck are these kids? And then like they
Dude,
went home and it had like the worst dinner ever because they wasted $200 or $300 trying to meet
yeah,
Shaq.
they're like, who
And
the fuck are these guys? They would have paid big money to go see him,
right.
like,
But
and with
there's such
you know.
like a DIY like
Mhm.
thing when it comes to hardcore. It's like, oh, like we're gonna meet Shaq one day, and then
Yeah,
just by a couple other helpful people, y'all made that happen. Like
yeah,
before the person reached out to you, did you guys talk in the band? Like, what if we met Shaq one day?
no,
No,
we
that
legit.
wasn't even on your radar.
That was not a lot of the things I have never been on our like
Yeah.
our to-do list,
Right,
like
right. The speed to
that
do
that
list.
that video going viral, Shaq commenting the thing that was not a thing where it was like, half the things we do is like there's no intentions like to be like, okay, cool, this we have to do this.
Right.
That whole like Post Malone thing, that was like you know, that wasn't meant to be like we weren't meant to go to that show. Like,
Yeah.
just
Well,
kind of
like I think the thing that's different with him is that he understands our world and he
oh,
understands the
absolutely.
music. Like I'm not to
Yes.
say not to say that Shaq doesn't. Like shout out to Shaq if you're listening. But um Post comes from a lot of that. Like his photographer Adam, um
Yeah, yeah,
like he
for
used to
sure.
book shows. Like Adam used to book shows in Minneapolis like
Yeah.
way
He
back in the
booked
day.
he booked my old band, Relentless. Like,
Really?
yeah, he
You're like,
told me,
"What's
he was
up,
like,
bro? Remember remember 2000 and whatever the fuck?"
yeah, and I was like, oh, no, I remember the show, but I don't remember like, him booking it.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I've reached out to Adam to be on the podcast, but I feel like my podcast request is buried in his DMs cuz him like again, I think it's really cool to be a part of a community and the
Mm,
serendipity of like, bleeding for your local scene and like doing all that, like
yeah,
manifests
absolutely.
into some of like the craziest shit that you could ever do in your life.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, when you come from like like I guess our community, it's cool to see people, you know, doing stuff outside of hardcore and like, but still, it's still in their roots. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
That's cool as shit. Like, whenever I see like, actors and like coming doing stuff like, coming from hardcore and doing that's cool.
Yeah. Like there's
That's
been
cool
some
shit.
people like in some big bands who've come on the podcast and I've asked them
Yeah.
like who's like the most noteworthy household name person that has listened to your band. And there's been some big people that have, been like, yeah, it's crazy that so and so has listened to our stuff. Um
Yeah.
Whether or not Shaq is a monthly listener of Speed, um that like to me that takes the cake. I don't think there's anything else
Oh,
on my radar that could even compete with that.
yeah.
Man.
Yeah. It was cool. It was a cool experience. That's for sure.
Short but sweet, some would say.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a cool
Um
experience.
so I have a Patreon question for you, Dennis.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
when we get people coming on the podcast, I do a call out to all our patrons and ask certain people of different tiers as far as different questions that they would want me to ask. So this is kind of like 2 questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it down the middle, and we're going to do half of this question on the main episode, and then the other half on our after show that we're going to get recording, in a little bit here. But what's your meal prep for your games?
Like for my gains,
Yeah.
my meal prep. At this point, it's just like I'm eating whatever the fuck I want to eat.
Oh,
because
it's kind of Wild West right now.
It's just I've been so busy, like because we still work. I still work my job, and and trying to juggle speed and stuff like that. I'm just like, but when I'm doing
tell me ideal Dennis meal prep.
I do for a long time. I haven't really meal prepped, even when I was at my peak. I was kind of just knowing what to eat, like how much calories to eat, how much macros to eat. But yeah, it always depends on like but my ideal meal prep is like I'll wake up, I'll eat like I have something. Every meal would had to have protein in it. Mm-hmm. Whether if it's like chicken, rice, a burger, protein shake, But I did eat a lot of like pasta. I still do a lot of pasta.
Yeah.
A lot of pasta and like proteins and like a lot of meat. Yeah. But I've been doing this for a really long time, so you kind of just figure out like what you enjoy eating, and just eat.
Just eat.
Just eat. It's easier said than done, but
right.
But I've never been a real like meal prep guy. I usually like would prep the meal the day before.
Gotcha.
Because I hate eating like cold food.
I'm the same way.
Or like
some
old
people
food,
are like, "Oh, cold pizza is amazing." I'm like, "You are demented." Like,
yeah. Or like you get like you meal prep like like a chicken, rice, and like some vegetables or a bunch of other things. It just kind of gets boring by the second day.
Right. You got to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, and it just kind of just fall off track and stuff. But yeah, I just like eat. Like I just know what to eat, and then how much of it to eat.
Got you.
Depends on goals. If I want to lose weight, I want to gain weight.
Right. What's your goal right now? What are you trying to achieve when it comes to the games?
Right now, I'm trying to lose a bit of weight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I've been like
we like a slim Dennis. We love that.
Yeah, I've been slacking off a little bit in the past few months, last 6 months. Just life. It's busy.
Yeah, life is busy, and
yeah.
Sometimes when you got enough things going on, sometimes the health kind of takes a back seat for a period of time. But got to get back on that horse eventually.
That's it. You got to kind of snap out of routine. It's all about routine, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about routine and being consistent. So yeah, that's my meal prep.
Okay. Well, we'll get to the second half of that question, which is going to talk about your actual workout routine, but that will be the after show section. So
okay.
We'll get to that eventually.
We'll talk about that.
I was going to ask you if a Maxi Bon was a part of your meal prep.
It is.
It is. Right now, for sure.
For sure. There's always room. Like,
dude, I saw that. I've never had one of those. I'm like, that looks delicious.
You never had a Maxi Bon?
Never.
Damn. Obviously, it's an Australian thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I recently heard they're going to downsize this thing.
They,
Because right now it's probably the size of an iPhone, like an iPhone, like what I have, an SE.
wait. A Maxibon is a cookie, or is it a wafer? Like, I'm trying to.
So
How would you
okay,
describe it for the people that don't know?
so Maxibon's a whole. It's like an ice cream sandwich.
Oh, it's ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, so it's like
I'm way more interested now.
so a full like think of different type of flavors, but the original one is a vanilla, like kind of like ice cream slice, and then it has one side like a sandwich, one cookie, and the other half is like a chocolate like coating with like kind of
Bro,
like with like kind of like nuts. I think I don't know if it had nut. It might have nuts in it. I can't remember.
I've
I
never
know this
wanted to snack more on a podcast than right now. God, that sounds delicious.
I'll bring you one.
Yeah, you know how like there's like people who like who are transporting like a heart for like an open heart surgery, and they have the fucking cooler with all the ice.
Yeah.
That's you with Maxi Bonds when you're coming over to Canada.
Customs. What's this? It's an ice cream.
It's an ice cream sandwich.
But it's probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
Damn. Well, maybe if you can't bring it over here, maybe I just have to come straight to the source. Like that's
it, man.
Why are you trying to enter Australia today? A Maxi Bond. What?
That's it.
Really? Yes. Let me in.
But yeah, it's yum. Like it's like recently I seen an article that they're gonna downsize it. Like how much smaller?
I don't want that.
No, you know.
I haven't even had it, and I don't want that.
And there's a way to eat it.
There's a certain way to eat it?
Yeah. There's like the proper way to eat it is we eat the chocolate side, the coating side first. The chocolate coating side.
Oh, okay.
Only psychopaths eat the cookie side first.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel like the first time I eat this, I need like dentist supervision to not be fucking psychotic.
We had Drain were here recently, and I saw that ate was the Maxi Buns.
Oh, did they eat it the right way? Is the real question.
Yes.
Okay.
They did.
I was about to text Cody right now and be like, "Bro, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah. But yeah, that's the way to eat it. But there's all different flavors now. It's like there's a vanilla one, there's a honeycomb, there's a Rick and Morty one.
Good.
There's a Rick and Morty one.
Oh.
Which is mint. I don't know if you fuck with mint. I'm a mint guy.
There are some mint. It's not my go-to, but there's some mint stuff I do fuck with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mint ice cream is definitely up there for sure.
Yeah, they can be expensive. What do you think is an average price for an ice cream should be?
For like a premium ice cream sandwich, like is this something that you get at a gas station, or you need to get
this is like gas station.
Oh, okay. So it's like pretty accessible.
Yeah, it's like it's not hard to get here.
I would say I'd be comfortable paying $3.
$3?
Yeah.
They're like anywhere between like 5 and 60.
Well, I guess if it's the size of an iPhone, then 4 or 5 doesn't sound too ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't even recall the last time I went out just to buy an ice cream sandwich from the fucking gas station. So.
So yeah, the Maxi Buns. I like Maxi Bun.
Dude, I'm just gonna look up Maxi Bun like review videos after this podcast because, man, that sounds delicious. Is there any other Australian snacks that you would want to shout out quick?
Maxi Buns.
I'm surprised that's not on your rider. Maxi Buns.
Now that you mention it,
I gotta make a call.
Yeah, you mentioned it. I'm gonna tell the guys put it on the thing.
Please.
I don't know. I'm not really. I don't really like snack much, especially when I'm home. But maybe when I come on tour and stuff, I tend to do it a lot. But we have like the standard, like we got a lot of like stuff that you guys have.
Could I hit you with some Canadian snacks that you probably have never tried in your life?
That I should try when I'm there.
Yeah, sure. Well, you
Okay.
know, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
I'm not as much a hater when it comes to
Yeah.
some of these different things. Um, well, the classic. Have you ever had ketchup chips before?
Ketchup chips, like ketchup flavored chips.
Yeah.
Not that I have, not that I can say.
Okay.
No.
I would say don't knock it until you try it. It's not for everyone, but it is definitely a Canadian only thing.
Yeah.
What I would recommend that's a Canadian classic chocolate bar goated snack is called a coffee crisp.
Coffee crisp.
Mhm.
Okay.
So imagine it's like a coffee flavored wafer cookie in chocolate.
Okay. All right.
If you're
It-
listening to this podcast and you don't fuck with coffee crisp, you're like, I will find you and I will end you. Like
Is that what it's called?
coffee crisp. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna look for that.
Jordan, do you have a favorite Canadian only snack that you think Dennis should try? Put you on the spot. Jordan fucks
Dude.
with snacks.
Yeah, I don't know why you're asking me stuff while I'm sick, but you
Turn
said
up your audio a
chips.
little bit if you can. You're a little
Yeah.
quiet.
You're a little quiet.
Okay.
I know you said ketchup chips. I would say all dressed chips.
All dressed. I like all dressed more than ketchup chips.
All dressed
Okay.
chips, to describe it for you, it's like if you take barbecue and salt and vinegar and sour cream and onion chips, and you combine all those flavors at once.
Was that the brand? All dress.
No, it's a flavor.
That's the flavor. There's multiple, like if you head up a gas station, you could get 4 different all dressed chips.
Okay. Okay.
They're one of the most amazing things ever.
Mhm.
And
Alright,
every
I'm gonna
time
have
I eat them, I eat so many of them that I like burn the taste buds of my tongue.
I'm gonna look out for that for sure. All dressed chips. Okay.
Yeah.
And coffee crisp.
Coffee crisp for sure. Do you guys
Yeah.
have Smarties down there?
We do, yes, we do.
Do you
It's not-
have our Smarties?
No, I don't think
Because
so.
Canadians have a different kind of Smarties.
Oh, right. Oh,
Because what are your Smarties? Tell me yours, and I'll tell you ours.
they're like chocolate coated, like no, sorry. I don't know what the fuck that is. Like candy coated chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that, and then they come in different colors. That's ours.
Everyone else in the world. Whoopsies, forgot to turn my audio up. Everyone else in the world has the chocolate with like candy coating.
Mhm.
It's America that has the really weird Smarties.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was just looking that up because I was like, oh, am I wrong here? So Americans, their Smarties are what we call rockets.
Rockets.
And rockets are just like a sugary candy little like pill almost.
Oh no, I know what rockets are.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
But it's very strange. So I'm glad that you have the correct Smarties at the very least.
Nah, we do.
Yeah, we're good when it comes to Smarties. Don't you worry. Dennis, one of the last topics that we're going to start to hit on before we get into the after show portion.
Uh-huh.
We talked about your acting when it comes to what you do.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny because I think the first major drop of that when it comes to the speed lore was your Australian hardcore documentary. It just like randomly is like, yeah, I act as well. And then there's just like hard cut to some movie that you were in. I was like, whoa, okay. But like, tell me about the origin of that. Like, have you were watching movies all growing up and you're like,
Yeah.
I want to do that? Or like, was there another reason to that?
I've actually always wanted to do acting for a really long time. But then music kind of just took over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in terms of like, being being creative and doing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, well, acting was something I always wanted to do. So I started taking lessons in like, when was it? 2016 I started.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started doing lessons and like going to classes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something I do now at the moment because it's super expensive to take classes.
Mm.
And I'm not actively like just trying to get on the auditions or like stuff like that. But it's something that I've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ever since I've seen like, I think ever since watching Training Day. Yeah, the film with Denzel, Training Day.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what made me want to act when I
Hmm.
started doing acting.
Denzel is like one of my favorite actors of all time.
Oh, 100%.
Because
Same.
every single movie he's in, it's not that he's always like, there are those actors that will like only play themselves, but it's like for him, it's like every single movie is like super
Different.
good.
Yeah, and good.
There's a very underrated flick of his that I really like called Taking a Pelham 123, or the train number's like a little weird. He plays
Oh yeah.
he plays like an operator for like the
Yeah.
trains in New York, and when it gets hijacked, and he's like the main one communicating with the person. Inside Man. Have you seen Inside Man?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Inside Man's fantastic flick.
That's
Very
good.
similar vibe. Yeah, he's just top tier actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what made me want to do it.
And like, how many like shows, films, productions have you been in at this point?
Not many. It's like probably like 5 or 6.
Okay, so like just over
nothing.
counting on one hand. Okay.
Yeah. I've done a few films out here, a few like commercials and stuff. Yeah, it's a whole different like thing. Like,
right.
That whole world it's just a different like world, different like beast you got to tackle.
Is there like a thing where in the midst of doing a movie, like either you met someone that you're like, oh, we actually speak the same language when it comes to like, maybe you went to see like Parkway Drive way back in the day and that was your only show, but like, have you met or have you felt like a little bit of a, not like an
sometimes,
outsider, but
yeah, sometimes you do meet people like that. Like, okay, oh, you understand, like, the whole DIY,
right?
The roots,
yeah. But like making a movie, there are some DIY elements, but like the bigger
absolutely.
the production you get, like the more red tape and different things of like that you have to kind of worry about, which is not for everyone, but
yeah. I don't think I've ever actually met any like, I guess, like hardcore people in Australia anyway.
Right.
Like, yeah.
How do you get into character? Do you have to like go away in a room and you're like, kind of like, I'm curious how you get into characters, how you get like mentally prepared to play like, an amphitheater turnstile level event, or is it like you can just turn it on?
There's a process to it. For me, it's just like, I don't know. I kind of just, it's all about imagination. Like, imagining, what it'd be like to do this, what it'd be like to like, don't know, be a bad guy, killing people, whatever it is. You just get into it and just go there. It's also about, a lot of people get into that whole like method acting shit and they can just lose themselves in it. But once you know to like, navigate it and like switch it on and off, that's when it's like, that's when that's when you have all that creativity and all that come out.
Yeah, I find that any of the people that do like the method acting stuff, but then they like
Mhm.
can't leave it when the
No.
movie is wrapped. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw like the guy that plays like Elvis in that movie.
Oh yeah, Austin Butler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would like still talk like that in interviews and like all this stuff, and he said it was just a part of him. Like, bro, shut the fuck up.
Like,
Just like
shut
use your
up,
normal
man.
name, your normal voice.
Yeah, it's almost. When you sound like this,
Yeah, exactly,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, I find that stuff weird. But yeah, the way I get into characters is just like, just imagining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how I learned how to do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like in acting there isn't like any right way or wrong way to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like hardcore music. There's like no right or wrong
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
way. No right way to write a song. No right way to do this, do that. It's just like, that being creative, being bold, and trying to like make like interesting, make it interesting.
Yeah. Well, like
Yeah.
I like that you said that because there's definitely a lot of like certain lines or moments in movies that became so iconic for that movie, but they were all improvised. They were all like
Absolutely.
a, a the team of the best script writers in the world couldn't have written that, but just with
Yeah.
the vibe and like that person's skill, and they kind of like felt like, oh, I'm gonna try this for this take, and then that's the take that everyone
Yeah.
sees and knows that person for and that movie for.
Yeah. And it could not work. It could work. It could not. But
Right.
most of the time, it's like, okay, it works. It's all about making that bold choice of like, using it. Yeah, it's like even that. It's like that with playing music. Again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even like,
Sometimes you have the bold choice to do that jump
yeah,
at the show,
live.
and it doesn't go right according to
Yeah,
plan.
yeah. Sometimes you make that choice to like, okay, I'm gonna do, that jump there.
Dude, there have been some times where I have jumped with my guitar or I've done something and it's gone horribly wrong. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
immediately regret that decision. Sometimes it goes super awesome. And I'm like, I can't believe that worked.
yeah,
It's gonna keep, but that dedication and that ambition to field test things and to try it out is like, that's to
yeah.
me, that's way more important than trying to like perfect it in a lab and then really
100%.
do
Yeah,
it. Yeah, I love
yeah,
how you connected those worlds there. That's very important.
yeah. That's how. No, tell you.
Do you have like, because there's another thing too within movies and TV shows where it's like certain times that you're like, yo, is that a Bad Brains poster in the background? And like certain set people will like leave little Easter eggs or just little things. Has there been anything within the work that you've done where you're like, can I get away with wearing this shirt for my character, or can I,
Oh yeah, yeah.
anything like that?
Yeah, I did like a it was just a short film I did. I wore a terror shirt in it.
That's so sick.
Yeah, I was just playing some like bad guy.
Bad
Like,
guys listen to Terror. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's right. So I was there. I put a terror shirt in there. That's the only memorable thing. But in terms of acting, I still want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I still would love to do it, but it's just a matter of like trying to get the people to do it, do it with.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that, as speed grows, it will also create time and space for you to be able to make more of that in your life.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Dennis, I'm gonna have this be the end of our main episode and use
For
this
sure.
our ability to chat a little bit more. I have a couple other questions when it comes to your acting stuff, and we're gonna talk more gains. But the last question that I'm gonna ask for this main point of the podcast, and I ask this for any guest that comes on the show, is a favorite Mosh related story that you would like to end on. Anything Mosh related, and that could be wholesome, gruesome, or like super recent, super old, happened to you, didn't happen to you.
I don't know. Every time I think about moshing, is like I think about when the time I got banned from a venue.
You got banned
For
for moshing?
I got banned from moshing for throwing a monitor.
Throwing a monitor.
Yeah, I threw a monitor. It was just during one of our friends' bands here. Got overexcited. I should have done it, but I threw it. Got banned for like 2
Cables
years.
plugged in and all?
Yes. Oh, I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, there was. Yes.
Okay. It
Yeah.
wasn't like unplug, then throw. You were
Nah.
just so enriched in the moment that you had to
I was in the
throw
moment.
something.
I was like, yeah, this pit is the pit, and I'm just like, let's do it.
Mm.
And I had to play a show at that venue at one point, and I couldn't play it.
Really?
Yeah.
They were like, not this guy. You're on the naughty list.
Yeah. They're like, nah, you can't do it.
So what
Then
did your band? Did you have like you're like, sorry boys, I'm gonna be out
yeah,
for this.
I'm out here. Yeah, they played as a 4-piece.
Yeah.
It was with Relentless.
Well,
Yeah, and then that's my moshing
is
related.
that venue blacklisted for Speed to ever play? Because you're like, sorry guys, I can't.
Nah, I actually played a show the year after because I said.
Oh, there was a redemption moment.
Yeah, it was okay. I'm sorry. I mean, I was sorry. I already said sorry, but yeah, that year later, I played a show there.
Yeah,
but they don't really do shows. They don't do hardcore shows there anymore. So don't worry about them. Don't worry about them.
I can always respect anything being thrown because you're so overcome by the music.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
You
Dennis, we're obviously going to keep chatting, but for anybody who's not subbed on the Patreon, all the links and all that will be in the description and in the show notes. Anything you want to send the people off with before we keep chatting?
Thank you for having me on here.
Of course.
Shout out to Hardcore.
Shout out to Hardcore. I love that. Definitely keep up with all the stuff that Speed has. They're coming to a country near you, probably. Dennis.
At some point.
Yeah. Let's keep chatting, bro. I feel like there's a lot more that we can hit on.
Of course.